hopefully this piece will be very short today, but the numbers that we're looking at here for views as communications on the front page are 4, 2, 3. I believe 3 may have just changed. I'm not certain. And 4. But in any case, these numbers can be organized in a number of different ways, as everyone is aware. And a couple of the ways that they can be organized into point, or create an index of pointing that is both a reference to a passage from one of the famous poems in Gertrude Stein's Tender Buttons, and a reference to Charles Peirce and his classification, or one could call it sorting, of different kinds of signs. And of course, one of those kinds of signs that Charles Peirce sorts signs into in his inventory of semiotics is an index, and an index is a kind of pointing. So these particular numerical values point to a variety of different possibilities, because they can be organized into different sets, right? So we can have a 4, and then we can qualify that 4 with the number 2, and here's the number 4, and here's the number 2, and then we can qualify that 4 with for the number 23, so here's the number 23, let's see, '23 is harder for me to count. I like this tune, Make Weed Weed, and if that's giving you cryptological trouble, think Jamaican English, make us do it. And in addition to being one of the tracks on this album, it's also, of course, the title of one of Burning Spear's albums. And okay, so let's look at another way of organizing that number. Four and 2 and 3, let's call it 423, and subtract from 423 360 in our complex space-time travel communication set, and we have 63, and then let's qualify that with the number 4 and 5, so 63 in the complex set. Begins here, and then let's go to let's actually go to 80, which is here, and then subtract 17, which is easier than counting to 23. and 4 units takes us here, and 45 units. Since we have 7 tunes, we can go from 49 and subtract 5. And that takes us here. And, well, let's look at this one. So, all right, so I'll do something a little bit unconventional today. And again, this is based on intuition. All right, so if this is 49 and we're looking for 45, and to do that, we have to subtract 4. 1, 2. Oh, I subtracted. Look what I did. I subtracted 5 from 49, and I got to 44. And then I didn't really catch the error because I have, as I've described before in my dyscalculia, I have a certain amount of trouble with linear sequencing, and that includes addition and subtraction, whereas my ability to perform, higher level mathematics isn't affected by this particular phenomenon. So I can multiply and divide quite easily, and I can group quite easily, and I can visualize what expressions look like on the Cartesian plane given a linear expression, and other kinds of expressions as well. Anyway, I instinctively, my mind errored, to this particular space-time communication coordinate. And it's interesting because I had made reference to this particular space-time communication coordinate. But the actual space-time coordinate is this one. So this is the coordinate that we should address because this is the one that eluded us. and looking at it here, in addition to everything else it signifies, I'm noting the T and the LD. And that's interesting in a number of different ways because I had recently made a pun on the name, right? On the name Charles Ludwig Dodson, which ends with LD, so CLD, and the LD that could refer to learning disability. And of course, although that term wasn't utilized in Dodson's lifetime, there was a certain kind of interesting. I had intended the reference to the LD as learning disability or learning disadvantage, and perhaps to reference his stammer, and what might be kind of lateral or collateral references to verbal difficulties and other types of difficulties that others, in our recent referential system may also suffer from. And I hadn't really thought about a TLD, but given a TLD, I'm thinking of I'm thinking that could perhaps in an oblique sort of way be a reference to the language development test, and I had made a kind of passing humorous remark, and I wasn't entirely serious, but that Robert Duncan's poem, "Often I am permitted to return to a meadow," is written at the 3rd grade level, and that was obviously a joke, but I thought that given the T and the L and the D as an acronym, and perhaps a reference to language development level learning tests, that I could find an algorithmic engine that determines these levels and plug in some values from that particular poem, and we could see test it. We could test it out. So so here's the poem, and you see the first sentence is going to give us trouble because it's broken up there, being part of the title, and then it's broken up with Robert Duncan's name, and in addition to being broken up by these spaces between the stanzas. Let's see if we can find something that's a little easier. Go to the last one. Okay, so since the last stanza repeats most of the title, we can more easily perhaps deal with that. We'll see if I can copy this. And I found an engine. It's called the Fleisch-Kincaid calculator, and this supposedly will help us determine a grade level. And I'm going to take the stanza breaks and the line breaks out, because I think that might confuse it. And I've never used this calculator before, so I have no idea whether it's going to work or not. All right, so in fact, this text that I had claimed, right, was a third grade reading level, is actually 16.5. On the Fleisch Reading Ease score, that's 42.5. That's a college level text, difficult to read. So so if anybody wanted to teach this particular poem at the third grade level that I had claimed, as I said, somewhat humorously in my reading of the poem, that would be a mistake, and it probably would be more appropriate to teach this at the college level. So I have no way of really measuring the accuracy of that particular score with the Robert Duncan poem, but I thought, comparatively, we could attempt these are the lyrics to break on through. For I guess I've just somewhat arbitrarily selected this song written by Jim Morrison of The Doors as a comparison. So let's see if we can copy and paste that into the Fleisch-Kincaid calculator, and make a comparison. So there's no punctuation, provided here in this transcription. So I'm just going to have to add that arbitrarily. All right, so this song on the Fleisch-Kincaid grade level evaluation tool received a score of 0. I guess that's about it. I guess that's the lowest score that can be received. And in other words, this doesn't. In fact, we wouldn't have been able to test down to grade level 3 because this particular tool, its minimal score tests at grade level 5, right? So according to according to this evaluation, this text is very easy to read.